Hey Kenny, it's Kenny. This is entry number 18, and today I'm here with my friend Dan Ringey. What's up, dude?
Hey, man.
It's wild, but this is definitely the episode where I haven't seen the person in the longest.
Yeah.
Where it's like we were just, that's why I tried to talk about only things that I wouldn't talk about, like things that I probably have talked about on the podcast multiple times when I first saw you. So now we can catch up on everything. Dan is a director and assistant director.
Yeah. I direct sometimes. I write sometimes. I first AD a lot. So
Nice.
yeah.
You've been writing and shit?
Yeah, I've been writing a lot. I've been producing a fair amount. Yeah.
That's sick.
It's been pretty cool.
That's awesome, dude. It's wild to be, like 10, 15 years later and it'd be like the thing you were working on doing.
It's still such a trip, dude. It really is, man. The journey's been fucking weird. It's been like just kind of like seeing how it all pans out, and just like, I look back at just even like 10 years ago and I'm just like, barely able to pay rent and trying to do like 5 different jobs while I'm trying to like, kind of get my foot in the door. And It's just like, it all worked out. It's really, really fascinating. Yeah.
It's awesome that you were able to do you're also able to do like the thing you wanted to do. And not that I'm trying to disparage anybody that's that had to go down a path like this, but like it could have easily been something where it's like you did the next thing you bought a camera and you're just shooting like music videos for people, or shooting weddings, or doing something like that. It could have not that that's a shitty thing, but when you like set out with the goal of like you wanted to direct like real productions, like things that are go. And if you've done television, you've done fucking Netflix, like streaming. Is that considered at this like? Is that considered the highest now?
I think so. I do. I think like Netflix is, I think, the top dog there. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has Netflix. You know what I mean? Where some people like don't have Disney or whatever. Right. But yeah, I would say Netflix is the top. Yeah.
And did you? Is it one of those things where the things that you were working on, you knew they were? One of them had to have been, because one of them was a TV show where I think like you came in on like the second. If I could be like completely right. You came in like, or I didn't know about it till like the second season, but it was like a popular. Was it the Atypical show?
Oh, it wasn't Atypical. It's called Special.
But it was like it was the same vein, right?
Same type of show. Yeah, so Special. I came in season 2. That was my first Netflix show. Okay. And season 2. The last 4 episodes. I only got that job because of the pandemic. And so what happened was the pandemic happened. They were going. I interviewed for the job before pandemic. Did not get it. Pandemic hit. They were going to come back, and there was like this giant boom of jobs right once they made filmmakers a what's it called?
Was it
essential workers? Yeah. Yes. So we became essential workers, and there was like a big boom for work. And then Special came back, and the other first AD was like, "Hey, I'm on something cooler." And they were like, "Yo, Dan, you want a job?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah, that's sick.
That's what happened.
That was because I remember seeing that and being like, "Holy shit, you're like on a show that I had seen." Like the first season advertised a bunch on Netflix and everything like that, and I was like, again, not to disparage anything, but it's like you're seeing that real. It's kind of like if I guess it's not Comedy Central anymore, but yeah, if I came up on Comedy Central or something, and you're like, oh shit, like you're doing the thing, like,
dude, it was great, man. I had a blast. That show was also like very rewarding just to work on, and it was really great. I worked with great filmmakers, and the people were awesome, and it was just like one of those. It was for a lack of better words, it was really special to work on. And,
fuck
yeah, man.
Yeah, but I would imagine so. So that was because my question was originally going to be, like, I know there's some things where it's like they make it and then they sell it to Netflix or whatever. Yeah. So there could be a time where you're working on something and you have no idea that it's going to be on Netflix, but you like went in knowing like I'm fucking working on a Netflix show.
Absolutely, yeah. So the other thing's called acquisition based stuff. So like sometimes Netflix will like acquire projects or whatever. I've done a few things like for like Hulu or stuff like that where that's been going on. But yeah, so that was my first Netflix thing where they gave you like Netflix swag and like, shit like that. And then, which was really cool about that was that I was trying to break into television.
Right.
So I was like primarily a feature, first AD, meaning I only did movies, and it felt like at that time frame, all of the movies were leaving California.
Right.
Everything was just going out of California. And I, was like, I don't want to travel too much. I want to just kind of stay home, plant my roots,
right,
and all that kind of shit. And then, so I decided like, all right, well, what's here in television or what's here in California is television. So let me try to get in there. So I got on Sesame Street, and then Sesame Street led me to Special.
Damn.
You know what I mean? And
how was Sesame Street?
Sesame Street was the coolest, dude. And like, I love Muppets.
Right.
Love Muppets. I've always loved Muppets. And exactly. Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here. But yeah, dude, dude,
I have, wait 1 second.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Hi, everyone. One moment. Oh, shit. Oh, that is so badass. Yeah.
But me and one of the other comedians that's here all the time working and shit, we both do. He does a pretty decent Kermit, and I just do a terrible Kermit. Okay, and so I found this and ordered it. Now I'm on the spot. I'm not vocal comment. I see trees of green.
That's good.
Red roses, too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
That's good.
And so, yeah, we do this shit all the time. In fact, I have like a stupid reel that's on Instagram and everything of me talking a bunch of shit like to that comic. With Kermit just saying terrible shit.
Dude, coming from loving the Muppets, like Gonzo was my guy, right? And so I got a phone call from a producer I've worked with before, and she goes, hey, I got a job. You got to sign an NDA, though, before I can even tell you about it. I was like, sure, whatever. And that happens all the time.
Right.
And it's never that cool. And she goes, it's Sesame Street. And I was just like, fuck, yes, I will work for free. Like, what do you need me to do? And so... the guy, do you know how Big Bird operates? Do you know how Big Bird is Big Bird? Okay. No. So Big Bird is like this, right? So his hand is in the air. So it's like this, right? These are his eyeballs. This is his mouth. His hand is in the air. This is on a pulley system that helps like move his arms. And he's watching a monitor that's hooked up to his stomach. So like when he's Big Bird, he can't see. He has to look at a monitor.
And the eyes have cameras, or there's just cameras?
No. So it's our cameras. So what he does is like this monitor will be like that camera, and what he does is he has to then like go, hey Kenny, wow wow wow, like that. And so he's like,
that's wild.
It's insanely difficult. And
is it one dude? Is it just like, is Big Bird one dude, or there's guy. That like?
So the guy who plays Big Bird also is Kermit.
Oh, okay.
So like he is Batman and Superman.
Damn, dude.
Of Muppets. You know what I mean? Like,
that's fucking wild. Dude. Like, the thing that actually spawned the Kermit thing is SNL. The Christmas, like, Horatio Sands. I don't know how much you know about SNL. Like when Horatio Sands was on, him, Tracy Morgan,
Jimmy Fallon and Chris Kattan.
And Chris Kattan would do the Christmas.
Yeah.
And one of the funniest things I've ever seen, like if I watch this, I'll die laughing. Like if we bring it up right now, like I will die laughing. And it's the one they did with Kermit.
Oh, I've never seen it.
And he like dances. We'll watch it after this.
Cool.
And it's just like, it's the way that he moves. It's like, it's the way that they have him. I just think it's like, that's like the joke, is it's not just because the voice and like verbal jokes, but the fact that they can just do jokes with the physicality of a stupid little puppet.
Dude, it's so wonderful. And and with that project, it was like for like a week, we're like planning it and working on it. And I'm like, oh, we're going to work with Big Bird and whatever. And there's still no feeling that compares to when you actually see Big Bird come to life.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter. You're ready for it, whatever. Once the guy becomes Big Bird, you smile immediately.
And he's talking from the inside.
He's talking from the inside.
Which is a wild thing that seems a little unnecessary. But I guess because he has to work He has like a pattern of how he's moving the mouth to say what he's saying.
And then in post, they would like re-record his lines to make it sound better.
I got you. So this makes sense.
Yeah.
So he's doing the lines as he's going, and then they just sync that up.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And a lot of Sesame Street is also just kind of like, I don't want to say it's unscripted, but it's a lot of just kind of like they're interviewing kids.
Right.
Right. So it's a lot of just kind of like conversational thing, so it's less about like the specific words, and then they'll have their own thing. Like we had dude, Sesame Street was nuts. Like they had to fly the Big Bird costume from New York, and I heard, I don't know how true this is, but I heard the costume cost $800,000.
What?
Yeah, the costume cost $800,000, the Big Bird costume, and I have a feather, a Big Bird feather. And it is,
dude, that's got to be worth fucking like $5,000. Dude. You have a $5,000 feather.
They're hand sewn.
That's wild.
It's insane.
Okay. Like, I mean, is it? Are there animatronic aspects to it?
No.
No.
It is a costume.
800,000.
800 grand, dude. When they flew it from New York to LA, they treated it like Obama was flying. Like there's like people like at the airport, like Secret Service agents are like, we picked up the package. The eagle has landed.
That's wild.
Yeah.
The fucking Big Bird costume of all things.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Who else? What other Muppets did you work with?
I worked with the Big Bird of Mexico named Abelardo. I worked
Do they look the same?
No, he's green.
Right, but look the same.
Yeah, they're both like they're tall and they're operating the same, but like it's more.
He has a mustache.
He's kind of more of like a parrot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Big sombrero. No,
because I think I've seen it before. I'm
sure I think so. But yeah, Abelardo, he's more like a parrot kind of.
He was like visiting Big Bird.
Yeah, he came to visit Big Bird, and then Big Bird has a little Big Bird called Cousin Bird. And that was another one of those Sesame Street. I've been out of the Sesame Street game for a while.
No, you were right the first time. Gang. That was a little slip. I've been out of the Sesame Street gang.
Yeah. Sup, dog? Yeah. But yeah, I've been.
What street you from? Jesus.
Sesame.
I'm from Sesame Street. That's super cool.
Yeah.
What are you doing right now?
So I just directed Paul Alia's comedy special.
Right.
That's coming out on Mint Comedy on Christmas Eve.
Nice.
Yeah, Christmas Eve, and then so yeah, I'm excited for that. That's pretty much been like the last 3 months of my life of just kind of like, planning that, shooting that.
And so you were like, when you do that, are you like you're working for Mint? Like Mint hired you?
No, so Mint came on kind of not. They kind of came on in the middle. Middle of everything when we're kind of doing like fundraising stuff, and Paul had a relationship with Mint, and they decided to come in and help produce the special.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So so the first month that the special is going to be out is going to be is exclusively on Mint.
Nice.
Yeah, and but no, Paul reached out to me. That's how I got hired.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's sick. Did you know him before?
Paul and I have known each other since 2011.
Nice.
Yeah.
From just working.
Yeah. So I met Paul on a movie that I did in Oregon where we met when he was playing a zombie Bigfoot. So he was in a complete monkey costume, and we were just like on this movie, and we just kind of like, became buds. And, he was really pushing the acting thing. We're both living in, he was in LA. I was in Long Beach. And, anyways, he was like, yeah, I do open mic nights. So then like we would just hang out. I would go watch him do open mics. And then before you know it, man, it's just like his career just kind of started taking off.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I watched like the first 15 minutes because you sent me a copy I could watch. And it looks really good because that's what I'm like looking at it's what I'm like a little obsessed with is like I go through like a bunch of phases in comedy of like I'm concentrating on this, and like the past like 2 or 3 months I've been concentrating heavily on like if I was gonna do something that was like a special, like how I would do it, because right now I feel like it's just like saturated, and everybody that can't do, because this is a proper comedy special, like it's a properly like shot, like it's like very well and professionally shot.
Thank you.
Where like most of the and that's what you do.
Yeah.
But most of the specials that which I'm sure you were at least checking out a bunch of specials when you were making
big time.
this.
I went full Rain Man on it, dude.
So
yeah.
Most of them are these YouTube specials that people are putting out, and those range from just people literally that's a Blackmagic 6K from them using that camera, like a couple of those, and just literally putting them on tripods and then editing together a special.
Yeah.
To people who get a little bit, at least have cameras roaming and do a little bit better of a job. But it's like, I've been a part of like, if I cover everybody that's come in here and said I'm filming a special. I mean, I've been a part of like 15 or 20.
Okay.
But I've been a part of probably 5, maybe somewhere between 5 and 10, because I'm probably forgetting certain people that filmed their special here and like what that looked like and what it would, like Jamie Kennedy filmed his special.
Oh, cool.
He filmed the special. Like, last time I checked, it was like on Amazon Prime. Lachlan Patterson, if you know who he is, he filmed a special. Those are the two big ones. Like, those are the two big ones, and then there were still like 5 or 6 other people that filmed pretty professional.
Yeah. I think our production sound mixer did Jamie's special here.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of remember seeing that. Yeah, man. I loved it. I actually got the bug directing comedy specials. It was so much fun.
Did you watch Shane Gillis's Austin special? Like, not the Netflix special, but the one on YouTube? Did you watch that one? Because I feel like, to me, that's because basically what I was getting at with me saying that I've been thinking about this a lot is I think that the special are kind of like Paul's, and again, none of this is all like personal preference, and again, it's very well shot, very high quality, but it's like it reminds me of like of how specials have always been, like more old school specials where it's like a grandiose thing.
You have an entrance.
It's like like it's like, I don't know, like I want to convey like what it's like day in and day out, like doing comedy, rather than bring it to do it the way that I don't ever do it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It's funny because like that's a big conversation that kind of we had in the beginning. It's like, do you have an entrance or do you just cut in during the special? You know what I mean? And so we had 3 different ways into the comedy special to just make sure that when we get into editorial, if we wanted to say, okay, the big entrance, like, him coming out into stage or whatever, maybe we don't want that. Maybe we just want to shoot him picking up the microphone and starting there. Or do we just have a shot of the venue, hear some jokes, cut inside, like you're just now seeing the set partway through.
Right.
You know what I mean? So all of that kind of came in and was part of the discussion. But at the same time, because we decided to go with the bigger, grander entrance because of 2 reasons. One, this was kind of like a long time coming for Paul and his special, how long he's been doing it. He's showing up to his hometown, and it was kind of like, it was a big ordeal. And like we did 3 shows at a venue that had 300 seats, and every single one of them was sold out. And it was, Paul just had like a lot of fucking people there who just loved him. So like those people that are like standing when Paul entered, that shit was real.
Right.
And, they just really love the hell out of that dude. And it kind of like, for me as a filmmaker, I kind of look at that and I go, it's the more cinematic shot. Cause when I set out to do this, I remember I told Paul, I was like, 2 things. Like, one, I want to make sure that we do the special for you. And when people watch this, they go, who's that? I want to make sure that I know him. And then the other thing is, I don't want to just record you do stand up. I want to make a special.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of specials that I've seen on a smaller scale are people just recording you do stand up.
Right.
And I wanted to go away from that. I wanted to make sure that like we knew what backgrounds we're shooting into. We knew the like distance. Like, this is actually a great venue to shoot on because you have like a textured background and so on and so forth.
Right.
But like even how we're shooting this, there's like depth. A lot of specials, you don't have that. And
yeah. Like, I just watched like Nick Mullen's YouTube special, and it's like shot at Denver Comedy Works, and it's just like the lighting's like blown out. Yeah. Like it's just not. Yeah. It's just they just put up some cameras and
just went
with it. But I go back to that. The thing that I like about the Shane one in Austin, the one on YouTube, I say that one, and then did you see Ray Romano's special that's on Netflix that he shoots 2 sets in New York?
No, I didn't see that one.
And so he does if I remember correctly, he does 20 to 30 minutes at one club. Then he leaves that club, walks to another club, and does 20 to basically the other half there.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I think one of the things is it's like it's shot in a place. Everybody that's shot here has tried to make it look bigger.
Yeah.
Like they've tried to make it like, in fact, I remember like Jamie Kennedy's director or producer or whatever was literally like he did not want to shoot it here. And Jamie was like, I love performing in this room. I want to shoot it here. And then they brought like up lighting that like extended, so it made it look like the stage was like huge. It made it look, and it's like I just as a comic and as like what actually like translates. Rory Scovel, another like just special. I'm thinking of specials that are like shot small in a small venue, basically trying to make it like seem like you're there. That's why I think the Shane one did a good job of it.
I think
so
felt
too. Like you were like there at that little place.
You know, the thing with and like I think I love Shane specials. I loved there. You know, there's a bunch of one that kind of like stick out now since I'm on the spot. I'm not thinking of them, but like the thing that I feel like what you really have to do is kind of pinpoint what kind of comedian is your subject. And then figure out how to shoot the comedian around that.
And like you just said, it's like the point he's at like a different point even in his career of, you know, doing comedy and everything. It's time for it's time for that. Like you
totally,
said, like
but
that
you know,
makes sense.
Less of that though, but more kind of like Shane and Chris Rock are two completely different style comedians. Right. Chris Rock is going to pace back and forth, and Shane is a statue.
Right.
So you have to film Chris completely different than you would Shane, which probably require more cameras, making sure you get different spots. Right. Where are you going to be at this point? Where are you going to be at that point? Continuity gets crazy. Yeah. Where Shane, it's just like, you know, you're going to stand there. So, you know what I mean? Like,
just keep standing there.
Paul is very energetic. And so that was one of the things that I really wanted to focus on were kind of like the side cameras.
Right.
Because Paul does this thing where he plays the room when he does stand up. He's not just like kind of like looking over here, kind of like his eye line goes everywhere.
Right.
And so I wanted to make sure that those side cameras work for the run of jokes, depending on where he's looking.
Right.
And so like that kind of like technical side really made me go, like, dude, I fucking love this shit. Like, this is great. Also, it's like a kind of like a theater type vibe where I imagine you as a performer get this all the time, but it's like you go like, all right, we're starting.
Oh yeah.
Good luck, everyone. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to be like, oh, cut. Can we reset? Can we take that back? You know, you just gotta.
That's what I always say when I ran everything here. When I like ran the bar and everything, it would just be before we're gonna do like 2 sold out shows, and it's just a lot going on, and everybody's like freaking out and stressed out, and then I would just always be like, you know what, no matter what, in 6 hours it'll all be over. Like that's what happens is the time when it comes to something like this, the time just like it just happens. Like now we're doing it, now it's in the middle of it, now it's over.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing. So yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, it's I've been thinking about it a lot and trying to like get an idea of what I would want to do to release. And I don't even know, like part of me I don't even know if it would be something that's like an hour. Like I think that I don't think it's like necessary to have an hour to do. I guess the only reason that it makes a lot of sense is if you're going to the trouble of setting everything up, then you're like, well, I might as well do like have it be an hour. But I don't know. I'm starting to think that doing shorter, excuse me, like 15 minutes, 15 maybe 20 minutes is like better for like people's attention span.
You can monetize that, put it on different clips on socials and stuff like that. Now, do you think you would go kind of more of like Schultz's like Infamous and kind of do like brighter everything is kind of like lit in the space so you can like talk to people, or do you think you would kind of go away from that?
I would, because I would want it to be in a club, in like a club for sure, and I would just want it to be as most like a club as it can be. So it's like just dark and letting the stuff happen.
Yeah, that's kind of what I went with Paul's thing. Is it was, it definitely is darker, and like that's one of the things I want to do is because like in his set he never really talked to the crowd.
Yeah.
And so
that's the Scholes thing. He was talking to like
he talked
the
to everybody.
fifth row
Yeah.
and talking to all kinds
He's
of people.
He's like, "What's up, you up there?" And like the whole place is lit and it's very colorful and there's a style to that. But like, again, you got to play into who your comedian is, and like Schultz, you got to light everything.
Yeah, because his crowd work is. I'm looking and looking and like he's like looking at everybody while he's talking and figuring stuff out. Like my crowd work is more like I'm looking, but I'm not even. It's almost like you're looking, but I'm not looking for anything. Like I'm just like I get up on stage and then like, oh shit, you like, you know what I mean? Like it's a little bit different. Scholes is like, I feel like he started the wave of like crowd work and stuff. So it feels like and everything moves so fast. To me, it feels like he's like the old man. I don't know if that makes sense. Like he's like because that, I think like that crowd work's not really cutting it anymore, especially because of like all of the clips that you see online that are just like, hey, what do you do for work?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That the people are going, it's like got to be more dynamic and more real rather than which I've been noticing. We noticed that this weekend. We had shows here all weekend and nobody brought a camera.
Oh, wow.
Nobody brought a camera and recorded their set. And then I didn't record my sets because I've been highly uninspired to record my sets and to make clips just because of the state of the whole, like, basically reels and TikTok world with comedy, how like it's super saturated. It's like everybody's clipping out every little tiny thing that they think can, like, maybe this can go.
Yeah. Did you see Mark Maron's little thing he did?
I did not.
Okay, so he pretty much is like, hey, I need to get crowd work stuff. So he gives someone his phone and he goes, record me doing this. He goes, all right, so I'm going to do crowd work. I'm going to butcher it. But he goes, I need to do crowd work and, you know, you're going to record me and then I'm going to put all this on TikTok. He goes, okay, good. Hey, where are you from? Texas? That fucking sucks. There's one. Okay, we got one. And so he does that.
I mean, that's what I've heard, in this room that we're sitting in, I've heard people, like, I've heard comics, like, go on stage, say something, and be like, "All right, I've got the clip," and then like move on. Like I've heard, I mean, not very good comics, like you know, not, but they've done it.
Yeah,
they've definitely, like I've definitely seen that, and but this weekend, I've noticed is lately it's been less and less recording of the sets, and so which it makes me more down to record my sets and like get back on top of like clipping stuff out. And then it's like stuff will happen like this weekend from both shows. There were like moments that would definitely could have like clipped out or something, but then I don't know, sometimes like I told Xavier, I'm always like a smart ass, so I told Xavier, I was like, it looks like I'm just doing it for the love of the game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, remember, like, it's like, because that's what it was. I mean, 3 years ago when there were no clips or anything like online like this, it was like, yeah, this is just what we did.
Dude,
like,
it's comedians right now are like rock stars. There's like such a renaissance of comedians and like they're like names, like household names. Like you would, like, it's like they're selling out crazy amount of places. They're going on these insane tours and it's just like comedy is back, dude.
Yeah, I just think it's the access. I think it's that. Like, I think it is the online, you know, reels and TikToks really made it explode. And then it was already happening before, mainly, you know, with podcasts and
podcasts are big.
I think it's just a direct, like me, like I've been fucking with Discord the past couple days and like I'm like gonna build that out. And really the main thing you're trying to do, no matter what it is get the direct line to like the people that want to like see you live.
Totally.
And creating, and I think the best way to do that, it's like Dane Cook was like the first example of this on MySpace. The best way to do that is to create a community of your fans.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And he did that with MySpace and everything. I mean, it all ended up going sideways for him. But if you can, I think because he was the first, it's like you don't have the like cautionary tales of, you know, I think the biggest thing is like being real. And I think that's the hardest thing for comics is mainly that it's like a math problem. It's like, how do I want to sell out places and perform every single weekend and sell all these places out? Like, how do I do that? And so the early adopters of like doing the clips and stuff, like which I happen to be a part of. It's like we're just like, it's mostly people that were like interested in, like I've, you know, we go. That's one of the ways, you know, that we had kept in touch is we fucking wrote something together and filmed it and everything in our like early 20s. And
by the way, like, do you still write?
I have not. But I'm down to.
Dude, for how young you wrote that script, it actually was very good. And I hope you find writing again and hope you go back to it.
I'm down to, it's like I'm down to do different things, but I want to do comedy the most.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I need to, I should do it. Writing is fun.
Yeah. You're good at it. Your instincts were really good. And like you understand story.
Right.
Right. And I felt like, and I was literally driving over here thinking about that. I was like, man, Kenny should fucking really just write a pilot or something, dude. And like, you as a comedian, you are in the writing process all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, in fact, it's funny because I actually have here on the Discord that I made, there's like a few people in it. And I said I was going to do the podcast. And one of the questions was, if you had unlimited funds to make a movie, what story or premise would you, and who would you want to star in it? Who is one comedian that you think could take? Oh, who I could take in a jiu-jitsu match. I mean,
so funny.
Most comedians, except for ones that are better than me at jiu-jitsu. But yeah, I was thinking about that, like what I would want to write. Like I have a bunch of ideas. It's literally just execution.
Totally.
Which I should talk to you about after this anyway, because what I've thought for the past few years with it is like I need to, because that's what I was like, how did I do it before? And I was like, well, there was like kind of a team of us, even if it's like if I wrote most of it, because that's what really the way that it got written is Mark physically wrote most, physically like typed it in, but from pacing back and forth until it being like, this. So it's like, I think that's how I think of it. So I'm always thinking like I need somebody else to write with or to do the shit with, rather than it just being me, because I don't.
I heard a really interesting saying that Mark Duplass said. He goes, your first draft, don't even type it, just say it out loud on your phone and record it.
Right.
And he goes, because that's going to give you a vomit draft, which is like your draft before your rough. And then you then take that and then write that out. And then you're going to rewrite while you're writing it. So then it's going to become better. I thought that, and I've never done that in my entire life. I'm the type of writer that before I write dialogue, I need to write out the beats that happen. Like, Dan drives over to, the rec room, records podcast with Kenny. Dan and Kenny make out afterwards. You know what I mean? Whatever that is. But
well, we will.
But like that's how I have to do it. I have to do it like in that kind of like order, so I know where my story's going. Right. But like for some people who don't operate that way, I imagine doing that kind of like vomit draft on your phone. Like, because that's what you're doing. Instead of talking to Mark now you're just talking to your phone, and then your ass is going to sit in front of the computer and just type it all up when you're done.
Yeah, that makes a lot.
It's really fascinating when I heard that.
Yeah, for me, it's always just it's probably the same as stand-up, because stand-up is just like one idea. Just like the newest joke I'm working on is about like pissing the bed, being like my 11-year-old self would be proud of us for how long it's been since we pissed the bed, and then I remember my mom, like, it was just that. I think that's funny. Like, just saying that was funny. And then the next thing was me talking about how my mom would get like mad at me for pissing the bed. It was not like, it was almost like she knew she couldn't get more mad. So she got the most mad that she could be at me for doing it. Like, I never got grounded for it. I never like fucking, it's not like because I got like spanked as a fucking kid. Like, I didn't get spanked for it or anything like that. But she was definitely like, not chill, not just like, oh, it's okay, this happens, you're gonna grow out of it, like, you know what I mean? And so the next thought that is very funny to me is I go like, I don't think she knew. Now that I'm 37 and I like can like look at this back at this, I like maybe she didn't know how pissing on the bed worked. Like, maybe like, how you piss on the bed, and it's that you wait, you have to take a piss, and then you don't wake up, and you piss in the bed, and then you lay in it. And then you wake up, and then you're like, no, I hope I didn't piss in the bed. And then you fucking feel it, and you're like, fuck, I pissed in the bed. And you're upset with yourself and embarrassed. And then you have to go tell your mom, and she's going to be mad at you. And I was like, that's how it happens. But the way I think that she thinks it happens is I actually have to piss, and I wake up, and I stand up on my bed.
And you just like whip it out.
And I piss on the bed while I'm saying, fuck that bitch. She's going to clean all this fucking shit up. and then I jump back into the bed like a wrestler off the top ropes.
Yeah.
And then sleep in my piss.
Yeah.
For a few more hours.
Like proud of yourself. Yeah. Just, here we go.
Yeah. And so it's like, but it's like, it just comes from two ideas. Two funny things to say, basically. Like, you know what I mean? Like two things the concepts that I think are funny. And then it's like the rest is just filling in between.
I like thinking of the psychology of your mom, and I wonder if she ever like didn't give you liquids after a certain period. She's
like, well, that was a thing. I feel like that was like a thing in something like no water for you after after 6 p.m.
like in Home Alone, right?
Yeah, that what it is?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't drink soda after such and such, or you're gonna like, wet the bed. That's what. I identified with that. Like when I saw that in that movie, I was like, this is a problem for all of us.
Right there.
This is a problem for all of us. Like it actually made the problem more real. Yeah. Like oh fuck, other people are doing this. Because I think that actually maybe that hurt it. Maybe it would have been better if I would have just thought I was like the only one. Every kid thought that they were Kevin in Home Alone, but really we were all just his little cousin that got his face smashed by the chair.
Yeah, we're all just Buzz's girlfriend. Yeah, woof. No, I think that's funny. Like, I wonder if like how many parents just go like, okay, no more liquids, and like the kid's like clearly dehydrated. They're like,
just rub some water on his lips.
Yeah,
his lips are cracked.
You have an ice cube until you
just rub a little bit on his lips.
After 5, you only get cubes of ice. Yeah.
But if I was gonna write something, one thing I always wanted to write was when I was in my early 20s, my girlfriend's sister went to Santa Barbara, and then I went there for like 2 years, like very frequently, just to go party.
Okay.
And then just that the experience of like, holy shit, because I was like 23 doing this, because I was like older than I was like barely older than most of the college kids. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was like 23 or 24 doing this and being like, holy shit, like the movie type of partying is real. Like it is real, because you always go like even like high school parties or just adult parties after you're out of high school, they're fun, but it's not like insane, like just so many insane.
What's that like fucking thing they do like in the cliffs? They like all float.
Floatopia.
Yeah, Floatopia.
The inaugural Floatopia, like when it first started happening, like I never went to it, but I was like, them planning it and talking about it and being like, it's going to be this huge thing. And kids like fell off that cliff. I don't know if it had anything to do with Floatopia, but they fell like.
Yeah, don't like a certain amount of people like die each year at Floatopia?
Flying off, like falling, because it's like by a cliff.
Yeah.
And just hanging out at the top of the cliff. Yeah, some people fell and died and shit. But it's like, it's just because it's a wild concept. Isla Vista is the name of the neighborhood, like the little community. And it's just, I don't know how big it is, but it's multiple blocks, like many blocks of all college kids. And then every so many houses or apartments, there's a Mexican family.
Okay.
And the Mexican families will be out. They just are Mexican. It's not my fault. That's just what it is.
Santa Barbara.
But they would be out at like 2. Everybody throws, not at 2, but all night. People throw their cans onto the lawn.
Oh.
And then the Mexican families come around and pick up like all the fucking cans.
Sure.
And fucking recycle them.
Recycle them, yeah, dude.
And so I was like, it'd be like, throw the cans on the lawn and then fucking get them picked up. But it was like, that's all that's there. That's like all, like, it's just you walking up and down the streets and it's just all, it might as well just be dorms. It's just all fucking college kids and crazy part, like to the point you're like walking down the street and then you're like see people playing beer pong and you're just like, now you're at this party that you don't know anybody from. It was just like, it was very movie-esque.
Yeah.
And I just feel like writing something that has to do with going there.
My latest idea is about zombie Santa. And I have this idea of like Santa is delivering presents and then he falls into like a vat of toxic waste,
right?
Turns evil. And then at a holiday party, the hero and his love interest have to save the day against evil Santa. So it'd be zombie Santa spreading Christmas fear this summer.
But zombie Santa, if he's a zombie, then if he fucks with anybody, he's going to turn them into zombies. Is that what he's the cause of the outbreak?
Absolutely. The whole Christmas party goes nuts. Then there's zombie elves and stuff like that. You just do this super campy, over the top Nicolas Cage as Santa, zombie Santa.
And then it ends and you guys fucking kill Santa. And then
one of the elves survives, or the reindeers.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like the last scene that you see, is like they're like, Rudolph, get us home.
Yeah,
and then his fucking eyes turn or whatever.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh shit, everybody's gonna end up being a zombie.
There you go. See, writes itself.
Or maybe the Easter Bunny like shows up at some point to help.
There you go.
And that's how you actually, but then doesn't say that he got bit too or something. Yeah, fucking zombie Santa. Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's what. That's like the. Not that it's the same idea by any means, but there's that movie from last year. I think it's on with David Harbour
yes,
or whatever.
Was it Silent Night? No.
Yeah, I think it was. I think that's what it's called. Like Silent Night.
Yeah.
And it's like Santa has to end up saving some fucking people and shit. But it's like the opposite.
Yeah.
Evil Santa.
I just want to, or you do Santa gets trapped by like a kid who never got the toy he wanted, and no one's allowed to steal these ideas, by the way. Santa gets trapped by a kid who is who like never got the toy he wanted, so he grew up hating Santa, and he ends up being like Jigsaw, and he catches Santa, and he's going to torture him for not giving him his, and then Santa has to escape.
That reminds of like Misery.
Yeah, it's like Misery, but with Santa.
What would be good is if you could combine all of combine like it's like Santa's in a movie that hits hits like tropes of all these different movies.
So
it's like multiple.
Maybe it's just because I'm in the holiday spirit right now. I'm just thinking of like fucking like, it'd be cool as if we fucking murder Santa, or if we turn his ass into a zombie.
Zombie Santa.
Yeah.
Zombie Santa or kidnapped Santa.
So that would be that.
What if it's like Santa gets his reindeer like kidnapped and then it's like taken?
Ooh, and he has to get him back. I need to get Blitzen back.
And then
Blitzen?
Then he has to go. He like goes up and he's like, say this word.
Yeah.
He makes him read it off the piece of paper like taken.
Yeah.
Seeing like Rudolph with the hoofs.
Yeah, and then
exactly. Dragged out from under the bed. Like, Santa, no, I think I'm hidden. I don't think they found.
Yeah.
Like, Rudolph. Listen, Rudolph.
Yeah.
They are going to take you.
Shout out everything you see. I will find you.
And then like the Saudis.
Yeah.
the Saudis are trying to the Saudis are trying to buy Rudolph to fuck him.
No, what do they call them in Back to the Future? They're called the Libyans.
Is that? Well, Libya's a real.
Sure, but that's what he goes like, the Libyans are coming.
We call them the Labians.
Yeah, yeah, for labias. Yeah. He's like the Libyans. And I was always just like, well, I just recently watched Back to the Future.
Was that a popular term back then, or did they try to make something that wasn't a popular term to not offend?
It looks very like un-PC, right? But like it kind of, I don't know. I just like, well, I was watching that, and I'm just going like he's like just shouting out like, the Libyans are here. Well, run.
Because Libya's got to be small, right? Because we don't even hear about it anymore. Does it exist anymore?
I don't know. It
has to still exist, right?
Yeah. Jamie, look that up.
Yeah, put it. Yeah. Figure it out. Put it in the comments. I'll read the comments instead of reading a map. I just haven't heard about Libya since Gaddafi or whatever.
I think it has to exist.
Yeah,
but I wonder if I wonder what was going on in Back to the Future, why they like really were just like, let's call out the Libyans.
Yeah. I'm guessing that it's a very small country.
Yeah.
Watch, I'm gonna look on the map.
It's
gonna be the size of fucking India or something.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it only has 8,500 million people. Yeah.
The biggest Muslim population on the planet is in Libya.
Yeah.
It's not. But yeah, the Libyans from Back to, that's who he gets the
plutonium from. Yeah.
They're not going to remake Back to the Future.
I hope not, dude. I hope not. Did you watch that Michael J. Fox documentary?
I did not.
Dude, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. He got Parkinson's when he was 27.
That sucks. Dude.
Isn't that fucking insane?
That's terrible.
Like, dude was on the top of his game.
Yeah.
And then he gets this horrible disease that like old people get.
Yeah. He tried to come back and he did like the Michael J. Fox show. Like it was like a show kind of about him, but he wasn't him, if it makes any sense. But I watched that show. It was like, I don't know. Now this had to have been like 5 years ago, I guess. 5 or 6 years ago by now. But it wasn't bad. It was like hard to, because that's what they did, is he was playing like himself in it, so he had Parkinson's and stuff, but it was odd to just watch to watch somebody with Parkinson's.
In the documentary, you really get a glimpse of just like how fast he still is, like comedically. Like he like in the opening shot, he like walks outside and he's passing this woman and he trips and he falls, right? Because one thing about Parkinson is that he falls a lot, right? And so he, you know, the woman's there, he gets helped up and all this kind of stuff, and he goes, you knocked me off my feet, or something like that, or like, you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean, and it was just like so fast, and it's just like, I don't know, that documentary is really fascinating. It's just like seeing this person who has this like horrible like disease, and he's just like living life, and you just go like, man, I have nothing to complain about. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, just doing it. That's why I think that's why I didn't watch it, because I'm like, oh, it's gonna be sad.
Yeah.
Because he has Parkinson's.
It's really not. It's like obviously it's sad, but it's not sad.
It's like hopeful type of type of sad.
It's very good. Yeah. I couldn't recommend it enough.
So what's your next fucking, what's you just said you're writing shit?
So yeah, I've been developing some stuff. So I've been doing that. I'm gonna go AD a movie in New Mexico in January. And
nice. What type of movie?
It's a comedy, but it's like a comedy with some drama. So it's like one of those like 51% comedy, 49% dramas. Great tone. I love those kind of movies. And so I'm gonna go do that. That's going to probably go to Hulu.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I have a movie that I was the first AD on with Michael Keaton that's going to come out next year, early next year.
That's sick.
Yeah. Very cool.
How was it working with Michael Keaton?
Dude, it was a dream. Like, it really was. Like, you know, I'm a big fan of his, and he acted and directed in it. And
why do I know that already?
Yeah.
Like, he did. Somebody was talking about this. I don't know.
Could have been me. Yeah, but he.
Maybe it was like a post. It was probably just a post thing. It was a post.
Yeah, it's probably me. Yeah. But he, dude, he's great. And anyways, he like it was like a bucket list movie to work on. Like Al Pacino's in it, so I worked with Al Pacino.
So it had to have been you.
Yeah.
It had to have been you.
Yeah. So I'm like, for a guy who like at one point wanted to act and be like Al Pacino, to actually meet and work with Al Pacino was fucking rad.
Did you do an Al Pacino impression around him?
I was like, oh, ooh, ah. No, I didn't. But he is the nicest guy. He's super funny. He like tells jokes about.
Were you around him when he found out he was going to have the kid?
No, I wasn't. But I heard of his. And when I worked with him, he was 82.
Right.
And his
strong cum.
His girlfriend was 28.
His cum is not decaf.
Dude. Yeah. Absolutely.
Full calf, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, someone on set goes, "Those numbers are reversed," and I was like, "Oh yeah, they are." Yeah. So there's that. But he was like telling jokes about The Godfather and all this kind of stuff. He was awesome.
Was that your most fun? Well, okay, so basically, because I have some questions here.
Sure.
For questions from the fans. And basically, the questions for you, have there been any movies that you've helped direct that were stressful and you were like, the way they worded it is that they were stressful and you were ready for it to be over? So I know you probably don't want to put it out there quite like that, but like a stressful movie. And then they were saying, what was the most fun thing that you've directed?
So, I think every project has this love-hate thing with it, right?
Right.
Like even this special that I did with, I directed this comedy special that I'm super, super, super proud of. And like, I loved making it every second. And like, I'm so fucking pumped that we're done. There is a part where you go, okay, we got to finish this. And because like most creative things, you can like, get real fine strokes on it until the day you die. But you have to just kind of go, it's out in the world now. Go have fun. And so I do think with a lot of projects, for some of more of my narrative stuff, there are things that I felt like I wanted to be over a little sooner than other things for different reasons. But yeah, I think that's just a natural feeling to have. It's just like, I'm ready for this to be fucking done.
Right.
And then you look at it with like some fondness and joy, and like, so some of the movies that like for instance, my first movie that I directed, which I think is a good segue here, is like, it was hard as fuck to make. We had no money. I had to call favors. I had to produce the whole thing.
Are you talking about Dirty?
We were talking about Dirty, and like, so I had to. Literally, I filmed it at my mom and dad's place. I filmed it at my girlfriend's house, my house. I filmed it at I called bars and was just like, can I please come shoot there for like 3 hours?
Right.
And like stuff like this. And it was like really stressful and hard. But I look back at that time frame now and I just go like, man, I had such a blast. And I'm so proud of like the work I did.
Right.
Even though it's like, not like one of these movies that gets seen by millions of people.
Right.
It's on Freevee. It's called Dirty. You have to literally write Dirty 2016. By the way, you shouldn't name a movie just like a small word like that. It should be
because it's hard.
Because it's hard.
It doesn't pop. You would think it would just pop up, but because of that, it
Dirty
doesn't
Dancing, Dirt. You know what I mean? It's like everything is named Dirty. And so I was like, God, we should have named it like the Bad Cop movie or something.
Cop drama.
Yeah. What was the other question?
The other, it was saying what was stressful and what was the most fun.
Okay, so yeah, I think Knox Goes Away was the most fun. Yeah, because so like as an assistant director, you're very much in charge. Like my poor man's version of like explaining what that is like, I direct the crew, right? So like if you're directing, I want to make it so easy for you to just work with the cast that then all you need to do is worry about them. I'll take care of everything else. Okay. And so I'll come up to you and be like, okay, we're going to work on this scene now. We're going to start with this shot that you wanted to get. And then after that, we're going to get this shot and this shot. And you go, cool. And I go, all right, go work with your cast. I'll make sure the crew's good. Right?
Nice.
And so that's kind of that vibe. But with Knox, Michael Keaton's directing and acting. So there comes a point where I need to help him with stuff as well. And I just felt like Michael completely trusted me and treated me as an equal. And I know that sounds like, yeah, that should happen, but like,
oh yeah, of course. But, I mean, he's Michael Keaton.
But like he's
been around forever. And
he is a legit movie star. Been a movie star for 40 years. He's one of the best actors. He's an actor's actor. You know what I mean? Like everyone loves this guy, and it was just the best experience. Like he played music on Fridays when we rapped, and he like wanted to eat. He ate lunch with people and wanted to know everyone's name and where they're from, and he literally would be like, "Are you having a good time?" That's what I care about the most. He's the fucking coolest dude. So that was my, and also just like being a fan of Al Pacino and of actors. Marcia Gay Harden, who she's in it. She's amazing. James Marsden is in it. It's like, it was so much fun. And again, super stressful, very hard at points. I wanted it to be over. I look back at it now, pretty much being a year from when we wrapped it. And I'm just like, God, I miss it, man.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's sick. I do have some other.
Yeah, please.
Let's see what other questions we have. We talked about them. Oh, somebody asked me if I've ever gotten laid after a show from an audience member. And that's how I met my girlfriend, and that's the only person that's ever happened. That's the only person that's ever happened with. And it actually wasn't that, because I mean I think they're assuming that it's like you go on stage and then you're like, and then afterwards it's like you're like, hey, you come with me or something like that.
The blowjob line is over there. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, no, it's not like that at all. It was here at the club Thursday. I run a comedy competition every Thursday that's here. And so 10 comics perform and do 3 minutes. And then there's 2 judges. The judges pick the finalists. The finalists do a minute. And then the crowd votes for the winner. Okay. And my now girlfriend, she came here with like a dude that was like her for a friend. And at every show, there's a point where the crowd votes on Instagram. And it takes a few minutes. And so I'm like, I kill time. and I had my Apple Watch on, and I was single, obviously, and I got a Hinge notification. And so I was just like, hey, how's everybody? I was like, do you guys have a good time tonight? Blah, blah. I was like, ooh, I'm getting a Hinge notification. And people were like, read the Hinge notification. And so I read what it is, and they're like, let somebody answer it. And I'm like, okay, like I'll let a chick has to do it. I'll let a chick answer. I'll get a woman's help. And then as this chick's coming up, I hear her go like, fuck that Hinge girl. I want to go out with you. Right. And I hear that and I'm like, oh, I was about to be like, okay, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
But then the girl, at the same time that she's saying that, I'm saying like, okay, wait, to this girl, like, what's your situation though? Like, are you single? Like, what's going on? Do I even
want the girl on stage?
Yeah. Do I want your help?
Yeah.
Like, should you even be helping me?
Smart. Yeah.
And then the girl on stage goes, I hear this and I'm about to just throw this away and talk about this. And the girl on stage goes, I live with my ex-boyfriend right now, and I've proposed to him twice, and he has said no. And then it was just like such a good...
Get the fuck off stage.
No, it was such a good, crazy thing that then I was like, I didn't even think about this again until after the show, because I was like, whoa, you got to explain what is going on in your life. Like, you're living with a dude right now who's your ex, and you proposed to him 2 times. And he said no. Like, and so that, whatever. Then I'm at the bar and I'm asking the comics, I'm like, did you hear that girl say that? Am I the only one? Who was the girl that am I the only one that said it? Like, that heard that? And then I saw her walking with the dude walking out, and I was gonna go over there and fucking talk to her, but then I'm like, she's with the dude, even though obviously she's not on a date, because that would be fucking terrible for her if she was on a date.
That's why they're leaving. It's like, we gotta go.
And so as they're walking, I was like, whatever. Like, it is what it is. And then she followed me, and then I hit her up in like DMs because I was like, I already knew. Like, this is already. I did hear what she said. So.
Oh, there you go. And how long you guys been together for a long time?
For 2 years.
Okay,
for
gotcha.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. Like, comedy is not as like, I don't know. People are just weird after shows. Like, not in a terrible way, but it's just, I don't know, it's odd interactions with people after shows that are like not like that. It's not like, I don't know, it's not like playing music. It's not really like that.
I think I think it's kind of like this weird thing, because you have to like open yourself up to like speak to everybody, so people probably feel like they are like friends with you when you're kind of like, I don't know you. This is like weird. So I imagine a lot of it kind of comes also from you, where you're kind of like, do I feel like I need to go out and talk to all these people in the crowd now, or do I just want to go kick it?
And there's like literally like we have like we might be like me and my comedian friends, we have like a term called pussy comic, and it's like, it's not just because it's like, oh, you could just be like any comic that afterwards is like hooking up with. It's not just that. Mm-hmm. It's like a completely tailored. Everything is tailored to that.
Gotcha.
Rather than like in service of like actual stand up. Like, you'll notice like some of the things that they talk about, like they don't talk about anything that's gonna make them look bad.
Don't you guys hate it when
it's all like more
hundreds drop out of your pocket?
It's all like more cookie cutter type shit, like Fluff, not Fluffy the comedian, but like Fluff.
I was like, Fluffy's a pussy comic?
No. It's just like Fluff. It's funny because comics that know, like on the inside, on the inside that are watching will know who this is. I'll just say, when Chris D'Elia got in trouble, like, some people were surprised. Like, most comedians in general, most comics weren't surprised.
Yeah.
But I wasn't surprised, mainly from his openers. Like, I know the people that were in the group of his openers, and they like did shows here. And they like legitimately tailored everything about it was about like who, like they were checking like Instagram girls that were already posting that they were here, like taking pictures outside and then hashtagging it. Because this was like this was well before the pandemic, so this is when like hashtags were like a bigger deal. So they were like just looking at who tagged the rec room, who hashtagged the rec room, and like, oh, she's here. Oh, and then like I'll never forget because they were just nonchalantly talking about it in front of a bunch of people a bunch of other dude comics that they didn't know, like us here. And he goes, oh, so and so came. fuck, dude, I'm trying to fuck her friend right there, but like if I fucking go talk to her friend, she's gonna tell her that we hooked up. And it was just like that, and it was just like, and that was the night the term was born.
Wow.
Pussy comics. And it's just, yeah, it's everything. It's like the things they talk about on stage or never. Think of Chris D'Elia himself. Like,
yeah, totally.
On stage, he doesn't typically talk about anything that like makes him look unfuckable. Does that make sense? Like that doesn't really make him look like a terrible person.
Sure.
He has been a little bit more because his last special, he like mentions a little bit of like obviously the shit that's gone on.
Yeah.
On with him. And stuff, so that probably doesn't make him look good. But besides that, it's like it's all, I don't know, it's all, and that doesn't even necessarily mean it's bad comedy. Like he was known as being a very good comic before.
Yeah, he was very popular
before any of this. It doesn't mean that it has to be bad comedy. It's just like, as somebody who does comedy and then sees what you're doing, I'm like, oh, I see your choices are intentional.
Yeah,
it's not just like, oh, this is just what I write about.
Yeah,
it's like,
you have a motive.
Yeah, you made sure for this. So it's like, yeah, there's a whole world out there. But all that stuff's gotten a lot better because of shit like him getting in trouble and then just in general like Me Too shit. And just, I mean, Matt Rife is dealing with something right now where it's like he has like an ex that's going on podcasts talking about how he like cheated on her with like 20 chicks and stuff like that. It's not necessarily that part of it. It's the part where these chicks are all, what happened was she found out about another chick, and then this chick's like, oh, let me bring you into this like group, and it's a group chat, all of women who thought that they were like dating him or whatever, like, and he was like fucking all of them or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's like, so it's like, there's way more, like if you were a musician in the fucking 80s and you're in fucking Iowa, you're like, nobody's gonna know about this. And it's like, now it's coming to a time where it's like, yeah, that dude, you go fuck this chick in Iowa, and then you go home and you have a wife or you have a girlfriend or something like that, and then you like post something with your wife or girlfriend. Well, now that chick sees that and is like, what the fuck? I'm just gonna tell her that you were out here cheating.
100%. That's like everything too, man. Like that's why I feel like there's, not to get it like, political or whatever, but that's why I think there's like a lot of that kind of stuff about like, the genocide that's going on in Gaza and all of this. It's like, it's opening your eyes to things. Like there's so many more people who can now show what is really happening. And to like that point, it's like, yeah, look you're going to go be a scumbag, and cheat on your wife while you're doing a small club in Iowa. Well, the people in Iowa now have the ability to communicate that to the entire planet. Yeah. And exactly. So there's like, it's really kind of like, I personally think that, I think I was coming up in the entertainment industry. I was on this cusp of kind of like, it's still okay to be a shitty person. I don't mean like sexually per se, but like I still remember like certain directors would scream and yell at you while you were trying to get there. And that was just like accepted. Right. And now that's fucking gone. And you like, if you're the type who is like, you scream and yell, people will literally just be like, hey, I'm not fucking working like that. See you later. And I think that to me is like really great because
it's like the communication. It's just communication. Like what Casey Wilson came out and was saying like Tim Allen is terrible on set. Like, you know what I mean? Like people just get like told on for no matter what it is. In fact, I don't know how it is for you in like film, TV, and production and that kind of stuff. But for comedy, I was actually just talking about this with Xavier earlier. In comedy, it's like a huge like overcorrection, though, in a way where it's like, I guess if you're gonna overcorrect something, this is a good thing to overcorrect because at the end of the day, it's people being nice. Yeah. But I've noticed that like there's a lot of people that now that's like what that's what their currency is. Like in comedy, their currency is like being really, really nice rather than being really, really funny.
Like Pete Holmes nice or like...
No, because Pete Holmes is very funny. Pete Holmes is a very good comic. I mean, because of like the nature of like us all like rubbing elbows all the time. So all being around, all the comics being around each other and stuff like that. People are like just overly nice and people will be like, dude, people will really like somebody And it's like, oh, because they've been so nice to you and so personable and all of this stuff. But then it's like in comedy you can get clouded by that. Like that's one thing you do is you go in and you suck, right? You start out and you suck, and then you just develop friends, and your friends see you with like the fucking rose tinted glasses who are like, no, you don't suck that bad.
Yeah.
When it's like, really, you do still suck that bad.
Yeah.
And so now it's like they're your friends. So it's like that's how like more mediocre people can keep a career in comedy. I don't think for you guys, everybody's getting paid. Like, it's not like it would be as though you had people that were just like doing it for free, like they're like hanging around set doing it for free in hopes that they could one day get paid. And so those people are super nice and then kind of get brought along because of that. I don't know if this makes any sense.
No, it does make sense. I feel like that's like a big actor thing. Like actors have to deal with stuff like that too. And like it's a lot of just kind of like, you know, it's like helping each other out. It's kind of like, you know, you do auditions, you run lines together, and you're just kind of like, at some point, you're just kind of like, okay, well, we started this together. We're friends. You know, you give me tags, I give you tags, and so on and so forth. Yeah. But like, I just want to be like, I don't think you have it. You know what I mean? But like, it's also just kind of like, I don't want to say that to you.
Of course.
Because I don't ever want anyone saying it to me.
Of course.
So I don't know. It's definitely kind of tough. But
then when it happens a lot, then you start to look around and you're like, wait, all these motherfuckers are the motherfuckers. Like it's like a wild. I don't know. It's part of that. That actually makes a lot of sense because acting is like, it's obviously the artist or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's the same type of. Yeah. That's what it is. It's because it's the same. It's exactly the same. There's people that are doing acting shit for free,
100%,
and just in hopes of like, well, no, this is going to lead to
something else. It's going to lead to something else, and so on and so forth. Dude, that's why I fucking hated acting. And like, not because only that, like I also realized that I wasn't fucking good and I just never felt comfortable doing it. But like acting was always to me, like, I just look at, and now like, you know, when we did Dirty, I was hanging out with Paul and we were looking at casting and we were seeing all these headshots. I look over and Paul like looks like he's about to fucking cry. And I go, dude, what's going on? Because casting's fun.
Right.
And I go, what, dude, what's going on? He goes, I've been those headshots. He goes, I've been the people that you just scroll through for no reason whatsoever besides just someone just doesn't click. And he goes, and that's fucking crazy.
Right.
And it's fucking and you're just like, damn, that's the truth. And so like whenever I'm directing something, I'm casting something, I really make it a point to not kick people out of the room until they really have a good audition where they feel happy with. Because some people will come in, do your line, nope, see ya, leave. Right. I go, do at least 2. You know, I'll do that. I'll do at least 2. Make sure that like you're the person or not the person, right? And then move on, because it's like, it's so fucking heartbreaking, man. Did you see that movie on Netflix called May December?
No.
It's not a movie for everybody, but it's about a woman who marries a 13-year-old. She's in her 30s. She marries a 13-year-old. It's fucking weird.
This is your number one recommendation.
Dude, right? Yeah. So Natalie Portman's in it. And she's playing an actress who's going to do a movie about that woman. She like went to prison and all this kind of stuff, and they were like still in love. It's based on that, like one of those cases, right? When, you know, anyways.
You know, one of those cases where the 30-year-olds marry the 13-year-olds.
Dude, it fucking happened. It's nuts. And anyway, so Natalie Portman's playing this actress who's like, they're casting, and she's like, one part in the movie, she's just like, they're looking for these kids, like these 13-year-olds to play the other role. And she goes, can any of these, you know, we just need to find someone sexier. And the director on the phone is like, what? Like, and like, that is like, that's casting. That's like the weirdest shit.
Right.
But like, part of me was just like, God, I fucking bet you that is a true statement that has been said multiple fucking times because it's the weirdest shit ever.
Yeah, of course.
That's where casting.
Well, because you're trying to convey something with, you're trying to convey something with it. And if you like, I get what you're saying. Like, if you just have like some kid that you're like 100% kid, that's what you look like. That's what then it's going to be weirder. Unless that's what you want. Unless that's in a movie. I could see it the other way around where they're trying to cast someone. They're trying to, I think maybe innocence is maybe the right word.
Yeah, sure,
like,
sure.
So they cast somebody too innocent. They want to. cast somebody who's going to be a victim, they need to be extra innocent so you can sympathize even more.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were going to try to go the other route with, but anyways, but like we ran into that on Special, where on Special we were trying to find but not into that. We didn't run into that on Special, but in
there
casting,
were no sexy kids available.
Yeah. On Special, we hit a casting little snag because we were trying to cast people with disabilities, but HIPAA law, you can't ask if someone is disabled.
So you had to so they could fake it.
So like theoretically, if we put an ad out where like, hey, we want disabled people, we can't say, what is your disability? You know what I mean?
That's so funny.
And it is funny, but like you're going like, but we're trying to do something nice, right, for a group of people. However, it's still just not right. And like, so we ran into kind of something like that where we're just kind of like
on week 3, you found out the person's not disabled at all. Like,
no, everyone out there did such a great job. And like that was one of the rewarding things is because we had a group of people with disabilities that just like became like, we like started like a friend group and like these people still stay in contact with each other. And it was just so much fun. And everyone had such a blast, but it was like, you think you can be like, hey, casting company, we're looking for people that are in wheelchairs or whatever, and you think that would be like,
we might not have been clear the first time. We need people that are more disabled.
Yeah, like it was just like, yeah, dude, it was tough because they were like, we can't ask people like that.
That's funny.
And I go, well,
you should be able to ask. They just don't have to answer.
They do. What they do is they'll say like, people with disabilities apply now.
Right.
But you as like an able-bodied person can apply too.
Right.
You can't not you can't like say you can't apply because of this, right? But anyways, that's kind of that. Casting's weird, dude.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. I got fired by I don't even know if that's what you would call it. Like I have a commercial agent and they dropped me this week.
Oh, bummer, dude.
Because it's because I don't do any of the auditions. Like send me what happened was I got it at the beginning, like I got it and the writer strike started like shortly after. And then obviously the actor strike, and then there was nothing. And I don't know, I got like 4 or 5 different auditions that they sent me to do. And like this was while the strike was going on, and all of them either like I didn't want to do it. Like they kept sending me these things where they're like, take social media pictures and let a bank use my social media pictures, and they need to be like, but they like the specific ones they wanted. I'm like, I don't have any pictures like this of me doing like family stuff. I'm like, I'm a comedian. I have all like comic shit and like a couple pictures with like my girlfriend. Like, yeah. And so I was like, it wasn't a good fit. So I like declined those. And then there were a couple that like, dude, it tells you right there the dates of shit. It will be like the fitting date is this day. The shooting dates are this day. It'll be like, I'm gone. Like I was in Austin for like one of them. So like, literally can't do these. And then after the strike and everything ended, then they sent me a couple that I just declined. Like I just didn't. I was like, I'm not going to do the audition. I'm just not going to end up doing these. Yeah. And so that's my bad. And then I missed one completely that I just didn't even see. And so they hit me up and they were like, hey, we don't like, and the way they put it, I knew that it was like, they're trying to like show authority, because they're like, you declined this one and you declined this one, and then you didn't even respond to this one. Should we still be submitting you? And I was like, yeah. So like, and they're like, you didn't respond to this one, but it's still open. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do the one that's open. Sorry, I didn't see that one. And I did that one, and then I did another one, and then I missed a couple, and then they hit me up and they're like, look, we can't afford to keep submitting you and you don't do the auditions. And I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah. I honestly, it was one of those things where like, there's a couple people that are always telling me like, you need to do commercials. You have a look that you like, you'd get cash. You need to do commercials. But I tell everybody like, I don't have the same desire to follow up on that kind of shit. And I think that's the same reason I don't write and stuff. Writing would be way better, like more is way more interesting to me anyway. But I don't. Same thing with like any type of acting, like whether it's commercials or not. I just don't want to like. I want to act in the sense of like, I want you to fucking be shooting something and be like, dude, hey, Kenny, come out for this. Yeah. There's somebody that we need to fucking make some dumb faces and fucking yell at somebody. Like, come do this. Like, it's gonna be like 2 days. And fucking, I would love to do something, but I'm just not like, I don't know. I feel like the only reason for doing it is because I'm a comedian, and they're like, yeah, this is like an adjacent thing. You got to go out and you got to be an actor or do commercials is really just money. That's why everybody does the commercial.
Fucking is also like commercial acting is also like insanely tough because it's like you have to like do this shit with like, you know, like this like weird thing or with like no kind of like no words or whatever. You just gotta be like, Kenny, be happy while you walk from your car.
Right.
And because you just bought something cool and you're just like, you know, I don't know. It's very weird.
Yeah. And so it was like, I just didn't have the like, I really, and then there was no like, but the way this worked was a couple people had told me. There was one guy that like for like 4 years is like every time he sees me in LA, he's like at the Comedy Store or something. He's like, dude, are you doing commercials yet? And I'm like, no. So he hooked me up with this, but it was like literally a 10-minute phone call, and then they sent me all these links, and I signed up for all this shit, and then they sent me auditions. Like there was basically no instruction.
Yeah.
Or no, like I feel like if you're going to be making money off of me, the least we could do is like have more conversation and a little, not anything crazy. It's not like I fucking eat my fucking dick held the whole time.
Sure.
But it's like you would think like maybe even like, do you look at the auditions and be like, oh, you're not doing this right because of this, or you need to do that?
No,
like,
man, you're a number to them.
Yeah. And that's my main issue with comedy agents and managers and stuff like that is because I deal with them through the club, which I don't even deal with them through the club. I don't even book anybody through agents or managers at this point. I only book people like directly. Mm-hmm. But the reason for that is because I have not met, the best I've met is an agent that's like neutral, like where it's not but I've never met an agent or manager that would like treat me as the person at the club the way that I would want my manager to be treating the club and acting on my behalf.
You know, I think when you find, because like I've had a couple agents, and I'm very happy with who I'm with now. Yeah. And I think when you find that person, it's really like finding like a collaborative partner, because that's what it boils down to, is like you need someone who's going to be like, hey, here I'm at right now, how do I get go, like how do I get from here to here? And then like that same person needs to believe in you. Where if you end up just being like a name on a list to them, then you're kind of like, well, you're not really like fighting for me or thinking of the next thing. You just want me to take anything I can get because you get 10% out of that.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's like I deal with, I mean, I get emails all the time from like fucking UTA and different management fucking companies that it's just, that's what it is. It's a list. And it's like, all these people are available these days and all the, you know what I mean? And I'm going to be like, okay, let's book this guy for this weekend. And then they're going to be like, okay, you're booked this weekend. And then if tickets aren't selling, they're going to be like, are tickets selling? No, tickets aren't selling. They're going to be like, yeah, you need to post on your social media because tickets aren't selling. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the involvement that it is. And I've had multiple like managers, like just like try to strong arm me basically, but like not really know what they're talking about. Like with percentages and door deals and stuff, or like trying to like go like fucking like turn their nose up at like just the basic door deal here, when I'm like, the basic door deal here is better than almost anywhere. Like, and I'm somebody who tour, like I'm somebody, I do this shit. You know what I mean? And they also, I think what they try to do is, because this isn't like an improv or like it's a smaller club. They try to just be like, no, you're a smaller club. Like you're going to do what we say, or they're not going to perform here. I'm like, okay, so where are they going to go perform then? Where are they going to perform in Orange County? It's like, if they could perform at the improv, you'd be at the improv.
To the improv right now, but like,
and they can't, but you're here and it's like, this is what it is.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. That kind of side of the business is always so weird to me. I run into that kind of like on set occasionally, where you just kind of go like, hey man, we don't need to compare resumes. We can just like do this thing together.
Exactly.
Because we're both here. We're all here. So why don't we just like know?
And in fact, it was like happened. It was all over a host, a manager hits me up for a comic that I know. I literally have his phone number. Like I've opened for him before, like in San Diego. Like we know each other well enough, like not super well, but well enough. But now this guy, he has a manager that started representing him. I met him at somebody else's show, and I want to book that guy's show, right? The guy because that guy booked like 2 sold out shows.
Okay.
But then because he's a manager and he has a roster, he's like, no. He's like doesn't even want to talk about this guy because he's like, well, he just sold 2 shows out there. I'm going to take him to the Improv now. And we're gonna go to the Improv next time, right? Mm-hmm. But I have this guy, and so he's like, okay, like, do you want to do? It was literally supposed to be. It would have been the show would have been. I remember that it was December 16th, so it would have been. This was like 3 or 4 months ago. It would have been this last weekend, and he's like, he hits me up and he's like, we get like the details out for the show, and then I just send a like synopsis of it, being like, hey, just so we're all on the same page. He's gonna bring his feature. We will pay the feature. I provide a host here, which is one of like I have like 3 or 4 guys that host like all the shows. Yeah. So I have somebody that, and there's a very good reason for it. A lot of times when somebody books the host, I would say 9 times out of 10. When that goes for like an outside producer, just like a showcase or a headliner, they don't put thought into their host being good. They put thought. They get like a lower level comic who they're trying to give like an opportunity for, especially here because we're in Southern California, so they're at their home base. Yeah. So they have all these comics to pull from, all these comics that are always trying to get something from them, and they could finally give that back. Yeah. But it ends up hurting the show on like if they bomb, they have a weird energy while they host, because you got to be, as a host, it sounds stupid, but you have to be able to bomb, and then be like that last joke. Like, let's say you have the most terrible set, that last joke, you're like, yeah, and then I told her, that's my dick. Thank you guys. I'm Kenny Weber. Are you guys ready for a great show? Come on. Are you guys ready for, like, you know what I mean? You have to be ready to do that big job. And a lot of comics are not, or they don't, or they're not used to like to credits. Like they'll be reading reading it off of something, or stuff like that. It's just like, better just let me book the host. So I send him. I book the host. You bring the rest of the shows, all yours. Just a 10-minute host, and then he comes back. He's like, oh well, he brings his own host with him. And I go, so we'll have to do. And I go, okay. Well, I was like, that's just not something. I'd be like, that's not something that's negotiable for the club. That's something that we do here. I was like. What I told him, I was like, look, I don't really want to type out a full explanation, but I'd be more than happy to get on the phone and explain exactly why, because there are reasons why we have the hosts here. But we do. And then he writes back and he's like, well, he's gonna bring the host. And I just go like, well, I'm not gonna be able to do the shows. Like,
what about music? Do you let them pick the music that you like? People are getting seated to and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, if they send me if it's a headliner and they send me a music playlist, because it's their vibe. It's like that's totally. Like their crowd and their vibe. And I can even with that, I'm even thoughtful to that. This guy's a Mexican comic that he's booked me to open for him, so he doesn't just book other Mexican comics, but typically he's surrounded by Mexican comics. I have a Mexican comic that hosts. Like, I was going to pick that person to, like, I'm not like, if it's I have a clean comic, somebody that can be clean and host, stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to just be like, let's, like book the opposite, person for them. Like, I am, like, it's all, I'm thoughtful in that. I mean, I'd even be willing to be like, if he wanted to, I could be like, look, these are the 4 guys. I'll send you a tape. You can pick out of the 4 guys. I don't care about that. It's just going to be one of these people that I vouch for, that knows the club rules, that don't mind if someone's heckling, that they don't mind addressing it, because it helps way more when the comic addresses it rather than like somebody off stage, like, security or something addressing it, and then it becomes more of a thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where a lot of times it's like, because I do that constantly. If I do that constantly, like, it would be like, people be like, you guys, come on. Like, you're talking during my set. I really don't care, but you're going to ruin the show for everybody. So just, you got to be quiet the rest of the show. Yes. Like, just that usually, like, diffuses it, rather than it being like some pissing match. Even for me, like, I'll be doing it here. Like, I'll be the guy that's like telling people to be quiet off stage if I'm here. And it's like, it goes way better when I do it on stage as the comic than do it as the security guy.
Yeah, that makes total sense, man.
You know what I mean? And so then I was like, I just think it might be better for you guys to find another venue or whatever, like, because it's like, that's what we do. And then the guy hit me up. He like didn't message me back, and then hit me up like, I think like 6 weeks out, and I'd already booked like a show and everything, and he was like, hey, I want to see if we could get that date on the book. I was like, well, no, you tried to fucking ice me out. And it's like, and that's how you're representing this guy that I know. And then I just don't want to cause more of an issue by like calling him and being like, what the fuck's wrong with your manager? Like, why are they being like this? Like, and I know that guy would be fine with someone else hosting. But it's like, it's his man. It's, again, they're trying to like, it's like they're doing a like slightly different game than what the comic is doing.
I run into that a lot. You need to have that kind of conversation with them and just kind of go, like, a good manager would be like, all right, let me find out. I'll get back to you. Hey, Kenny, It's this. Like they're saying this. And then you go, oh, okay, not a big deal. Like not just take the liberties to say this. Like once it kind of gets into like the amount of money you make, you're probably having this manager or this agent here for a specific reason.
Yeah.
But like in my opinion, what a good manager, what they should do is go, how do we take you from where you're at now and elevate you higher? You know what I mean? How do you get to the next game? Right now you're on the bench. Let's get you starting. You know what I mean? That's kind of the vibe.
But there's got to, I don't know. It's just weird to me because in comedy, a lot of comics, I don't have a manager, agent, anything like that.
Not yet.
But then the comics I do, and the dude I know that have them, they're like, yeah, my manager's just telling me I need to make clips. Like that's what they're not like, the manager's not going, and I'm not saying necessarily that this is their job, but the manager's not. I would feel like, hey, we got somebody that's going to come out to your show and record your show, and then that way we can get some clips made. Of this. I mean, there's got to be a cost to the comic for that if they did it. Like, it can't just be just the 10%. But it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like there is a real effort. It's more of like, even comics that get managers, a lot of times it's like it looks like they're about to have this upward trajectory within like the industry part of comedy. So they get a manager and then they have the manager for like a year and then they get dropped. And it's just that it's really that they were trying to be like they would be like, tap my comic. I get their 10% if they do good.
Yeah. So like I think that my first agent that I got way too early. And so I luckily had a deal with that agent that unless they got me a job, I didn't have to pay them 10%.
Right.
And so that agent would say that they would like put me up for stuff and whatever.
Right.
And like, I just didn't think I had the resume to get those actual jobs or like even interviews for those jobs and stuff like that, where you're right. A good manager also should look at your resume and go, I can work with this, or no, I can't.
Right.
And some people just want to acquire people, like acquire content, because in hopes that I could throw you over here, and if it bites and I get 10%, it's no big deal because I'm already throwing people other places.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, and I think to the comedian or to the person, you also look at that and go, well, once I get a manager, I don't have to work as hard on the hustle side of it, where that's not the fact. Now it's just like, you need to keep doing what you're doing. You just have someone else doing it to an area where you don't have access to.
Right.
That's like kind of
exactly. Business. It's like more of like just getting, but that's what the frustrating part is. I'm like, man, the only thing you're doing for me is people are like answering your email or answering the phone. But at the end of the day with comedy, it's still that I have to be able to be the one to sell the tickets. It's not like it's me and like they're not the promotion where like it's just me selling the tickets.
Yeah.
And then it's just people answer. I don't know. Like it almost feels like have a manager for a while. And then if you get to a certain point, because like I don't think like Whitney Cummings has a manager. Like I think she actually doesn't have representation or anything like that. She does all of her own shit.
I don't know if she. I don't know. I don't know. I imagine she probably would have an agent instead of a manager. But yeah,
I just think I heard like somebody was talking about that literally just in the past few days, and I was like surprised by it, but also like she's also a fucking like go getter. Like,
she's one of my favorite comedians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know her personally, but
she's one of my favorite comedians.
She's awesome, and she's always like she's always helping out comics and helping out animals, I guess, but comics.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
But she's chill. Fuck. Well, I think that's the end, dude.
Okay. Well, hey man, dude, I felt like you and I should do this more, man.
Yeah, I'm 100. I'm down. I'm literally trying to record. I mean, I'm on top of actually like recording and weekly releases and everything. So it's like, dude, we could do this in another month, a month or so.
Yeah, man. I wanted to talk to you about your reality TV watching because I'm a diehard Survivor fan. Diehard Survivor fan. And I also wanted to talk to you. We haven't talked football.
Man, we didn't even get into football at all. We didn't
get into any fantasy football. I'm in a guillotine league. Do you know what that is?
No, what is that?
Oh, so because I know you're in a dynasty league.
Yeah.
So guillotine league is when you have 16 teams.
Yeah.
And each week, whoever scores the least amount of points gets chopped, gets cut out, and their players go to waivers.
What the fuck? Before you
know it,
and when does it stop? Does it stop?
When there's one team left, and they get all of the pot.
For the 16 weeks.
Yeah.
Damn.
So like this week coming up is the championship or whatever. I just lost my light here. Okay. But yeah. So anyways, it's totally fucking cool.
Dude, that's what we should do. We should plan it to do one like the second week of February or something like that. Well, when are you going to New Mexico?
I'm going to New Mexico in the late January. I come back in the beginning of March.
We should do one in like mid-January, so we can talk about like a bunch of football shit, and then we can do one when you come back.
I would love to.
So we should do one before, pre and post New Mexico. So
that sounds great, man.
I'll definitely hit you up. Like I'm literally trying to, I'm not trying. I'm releasing one every week, and I'm more about having good conversation than just being like, I got to get like this person and that person, and like, oh, you just did it. Like I'd rather just have more. So
I would love to, man. And I also, dude, and I want to work together and make something fun, and let's do all that kind of stuff.
Fuck yeah, dude. Thank you for being here.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Woo.
Bye, guys.
Woo.